Well, I must say it's been an absolute age since what it feels like I've been out with a camera. I think the last time I was out was beginning of July, and yeah, just with summer, I just haven't felt like it. It's just been wall to wall blue skies. It's pretty much felt like. So yeah, coming out early this morning, Steve picked me up at 3:30. Is a bit of a shock to the system. But yeah, we've took a short drive up to a place I've been to once before. Never vlogged from here, never actually taken any photos from here, but a place called Stanton Moor, just in the south of the Peak District. It's a beautiful location. Out with Dave Peck, Steve Stain, and one of our Thumbs Up Photography members, Paul's Peak District Photography. Really good to meet him. It's the first time we've actually met. And yeah, as I say, we're at Stanton Moor for one very good reason, which you can just see behind me. The heather is in, I would say, pretty much full bloom. It's looking beautiful. We've walked about 10 minutes from the car and come across this wall on the edge of this quarry here, sort of framing this Scots pine behind me really quite nicely. You can probably just make out the wall there. And I've just gone for a real nice basic shot where I've got pretty much the wall cutting across the frame, leading out to some nice clouds in the background there, and just framing this Scots pine, as I say, really quite nicely. Obviously, you've got this sea of purple at the moment. It looks absolutely beautiful. We're just waiting for a little bit though, for a bit of light to hopefully come and just light up the foreground a little bit. Not sure if it's going to happen, but I've taken a shot already anyway. If that works out, I will pop it on screen. But yeah, the plan this morning really is just to walk around, try and play with this heather. There's quite a lot of gorse around as well, which looks quite nice. But there's some lovely silver birch over just beyond as well, which yeah, I think look really nice, especially with heather as a foreground. That contrast between the purples of the heather and the sort of silvery white bark of the birch is really quite appealing. So yeah, this works out. I'll pop it on screen and we'll go and see if we can grab another shot. Well, I haven't actually moved since last time I spoke to you. Camera's in pretty much exactly the same spot, but I've gone into portrait orientation and I'm making more use of this heather as a foreground interest. And I found a little clump of it here with this sort of almost like a path leading through, and it leads through beautifully to the wall and then to the Scots pine there in the background. And actually the sky is looking really quite nice at the moment. You can probably just make out over here some lovely sort of golden hues in the sky, and it's quite sort of patchy sort of cloud, which looks quite nice. So yeah, quite happy with this, I think. I have focus stacks because the heather's quite close to the lens here. I'm at 16mm, but even then the immediate foreground sort of there is still slightly out of focus. So focus bracketing this, and also exposure blending as well, just to try and make sure I've got everything I need when I get back into post, bring it all together. But yeah, quite happy with this. And Dave's taken a photo here of some rocks that look quite a nice foreground interest, so I'm going to actually go and steal that, I think.
I'll be back your way. What a bloke.
He told me it's a warbling, so can't miss an opportunity, can I? Right, so yeah, put this one on the screen for you. I'm going to have a look at this. Right, so I have framed up and stolen Dave's shot here. Really quite low, as you can see here with the camera. Portrait orientation, about 16mm. Just using these rocks here.
Again, stole my position.
Again. I did, yeah. Earlier in the year, steal an image. But, you know, it seems to be a done thing these days. Less of them, not the better. So, you got these rocks leading out here to this tree in the background, and there's sort of, obviously, again, the wall going across. But again, next to the rock, as well as the heather, these sort of ready coloured leaves. I've no idea what they are. They look really interesting. But yeah, it all just leads out to this magnificent Scots pine here, and these beautiful clouds we've got at the moment. So yeah, I'm just balanced a bit precariously. So let me put the photo on screen for you, but I think we're probably done for this little pocket here. The light over there is looking lovely and gold at the moment, but there's none on the ground here. It's basically we've got a bit of shade going on. So let's go on, move on, and see what else we can grab. So I've just done something I wouldn't normally do, but we've been walking for about 10 minutes now into this sort of deeper part of the woodland with these beautiful silver birch. But what I've done is I've actually shot a photo in a woodland with the sun pretty much behind me. Now normally I'd avoid that like the plague, because you find, well, for one, you get shadows like you can see with my mic, my camera here on myself. But I'm just slightly off centre, so it's not too bad. But you also find you tend to lose a bit of depth normally. But for me in this photo, I think it kind of just works because it's not directly behind it, it's slightly off, as I say. But going into the background here, you've got this really dark forest behind, and obviously these immediate silver birch here that are lit up by the sun beautifully. But you've got this sort of like U shape here of this fallen silver birch. You've got these sort of branches anchoring the sort of bottom right hand, leading you through, and then sort of sweeping round almost to these other silver birch in the background, and then just a touch of heather there as well. Something about it appeals. I don't know. Just caught my eye. I don't know if it's going to work. It probably won't. But sometimes it's just good to come somewhere like this and just experiment and just try something you haven't actually tried before. And especially with myself, because I haven't actually been out to do photography for a month or so now. Yeah, it's nice to get the sort of creative juices flowing a little bit. So I will pop this on screen. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think this works. It probably won't, as I say, but I'm having fun trying anyway. So I've just come across a scene that's much more my bread and butter, and it's a really simple scene, and on days like this where actually you have got quite a lot of blue sky, it's what I typically do in the woodlands. And you may, if you've been watching the channel for a while, have seen various videos where I go out in the woodland on a blue sky day like this and shoot pretty much towards the sun, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So in the distance there, I'm actually in at the full length of this lens, which is 200mm, and there's this section of silver birch pretty much bookending this. I think it might be a beech tree in the background there, but it's the way they're placed is really quite nice. You've got kind of like obviously the silver birch on either side of it, but the beech tree has got sort of a bit of a lean to it, and it's crossing over with what might be a younger beech tree in the background there. It just comes together quite nice as there's that interaction I look for between trees. And with the sun behind, it's lighting up the grasses on the floor really quite nicely. And a moment ago, it was lighting up some of the leaves as well, but the sun actually has gone behind a cloud now. But it's just a really nice scene. I have one issue with it, which I'm going to have to fix back in post, which is that the birch themselves, because they're in the shade, they've got a sort of a bluey tone to them, which is clashing a bit with the yellows, I think, in this particular scene. So what I'm probably going to do is just basically remove all trace of blue from the image, make those as white as they can possibly be, and just have that nicely contrasting against the golden colour of the backlight on the leaves and the grasses. Really nice scene, really nice simple scene, the sort of thing I typically look for on blue sky days like this. So just over that way, there's a 9 Ladies stone circle. It's a Bronze Age stone circle. It's quite a small one, and it's the myth goes that basically it's The stones are actually 9 ladies that were turned to stone for dancing on a Sunday. So apparently that used to be illegal. So we'll go and have a look at that, maybe make a photo of it. Yeah, Dave and Paul and Steve have all come down to this area now. They've just kind of gone off into the woodlands. But while I'm here, it definitely would make sense to go and see if we can try and make up some kind of composition with the stone circle itself. So I spent a bit of time around the stone circle trying to frame up some kind of composition, but it just wasn't working for me. I don't think the rocks really are big enough to sort of, create quite an interesting composition, not in these conditions anyway. Like you go to Castlereagh Stone Circle in the Lake District and they're quite big stones, or even Stonehenge. But these, being so small in the conditions that we have doesn't really work. Anyway, that's besides the point. So I did catch Dave here a minute ago. I don't know if he got the same composition or not, but it is quite a lovely scene. So you've got these old birch trees, silver birch trees, just here. And what I really like is that interaction again between the trees. You've got these ones on the sort of left-hand side leaning into the right of the frame. Again, some lovely backlight on the leaves as well. But there's one sort of falling in the background, sort of leaning the opposite way. So you've got that kind of contrast there with the shapes and stuff. It's just a nice scene. So I'm going to shoot it. So I'm going to get everything framed up, and then once I've done that, we'll talk you through it. So in video mode, it's actually showing it in 16:9 crop. But what I really like about this scene is on the left-hand side here, you've got these two sort of repeating patterns of these silver birch. It's a V shape and another V shape. Well, actually a third. So you've got a V shape here as well, and actually sort of an implied one in the background behind that. But then obviously you've got this birch here that's fallen, coming in from the bottom sort of right-hand side, leading into the rest of the trees that are kind of leaning left. So that I love that contrast, that sort of sweeping motion, if you like, of the trees in the background there. Looks really nice. I love these backlit silver birch leaves here. Love this little pocket of light on the grass. It just balances really quite nicely. As you can see though, I have got a big portion of the sky in the frame, but I'm thinking that might work out quite nice in post, because the clouds that are behind it have got a nice little bit sort of mistiness, if you like. They're not sort of like big grey clouds. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this. It's not perfect, but I think, it's definitely one to come back to. Anyway, I'll pop it on screen for you now. Let us know what you think. While I still maintain this is a strong composition, I just don't think it quite worked out on this morning. I do love the shapes and the textures of the bark and the silver birch, but with those bright highlights in the sky, I just find that the eye is drawn to those immediately, and then your eyes just get lost within the image. I think if I was to return, probably later in the year when the sun is at more of a sort of 45-degree angle to the trees, with some nice foggy conditions, potentially in some nice golden side light, I think that could absolutely transform this image. I think it would look quite spectacular. So, one to return to in the future. So as you can probably tell, the light is starting to get a bit harsh now. And I've got a few nice photos this morning, but I think I'm going to call it. Stanton Moor is a fantastic location. I first come here about a year or so ago, with the wife for just a day trip, and I thought to myself, I need to come back here at some point for photography, and yeah, I'm so glad I did. The heather out on the main moorland is beautiful. Like I say, we didn't really have the ideal conditions this morning, but I still think we came away with some pretty nice images. Absolutely love this location, one I'll definitely come back to, but from me here at Stanton Moor this morning, I'm going to end it. So thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully it won't be too long to my next video. I know I haven't put out many recently, but yeah, I've just quite enjoyed summer, spending time with the family. But thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you soon.